my channel. This video is gonna be very exciting because I think that I found the holy grails of makeup. These products were not necessarily released in 2022. These are the makeup items that I found myself reaching for practically since I discovered them. So these products are ones that I have personally found to work for me, and I have combo but mostly oily skin. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and then to follow me over on Instagram so that we can be friends over there. And let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, these products were not necessarily released in 2022, but these are literally the best products up to this year. I mean, I have not found anything better than the ones that I'm about to show you. So let's get started with foundation. First one that I want to share with you is this one. I have a video reviewing this foundation. This is Holy Grail status. This is the House Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation in the shade 175 Light Neutral. The texture is not too creamy, not too runny. It's not thick at all. It's very lightweight. Honestly, when I apply it to the face, or to my face, I cannot even tell that I am wearing foundation. I forget that I am wearing it. This is a very hydrating because it has a lot of hydrating ingredients, but I am an oily girl, and this works for me, for my face, for my oils, for my soul. I sometimes don't even need to powder it, but if I feel like I'm a little bit too glowy throughout the day, I just powder a little bit and it's good as new. If you are looking for a foundation that is glowy and you're an oily person, this right here will work for you. The next one is going to be the Minimalist Stick from Merit. This is not a foundation or a concealer, but it'll replace both in your makeup bag. This right here is for anyone who's like,
listen girl, I don't have time for foundation. I just need to slap something on my face and walk out the door.
This is that. This specific shade that I have is Bisque. This works as concealer and as like pimple coverage, but also all over your face. I love to use this whenever I want something that's a little bit more light to medium, but it's also very buildable. Let's say I just want a little bit of coverage under my eyes and that's it. This will work. But if I've come home after the gym and my cheeks are red around this area, I just cover the redness with my finger, blend it out, and it's seamless. You can't tell where this ends and your skin begins. That's how great it is. Moving on to concealers. I probably tried out every single concealer that has been released up until this year. I finally think I found the 3 holy grail concealers that you need to try, if not at least just one of these. This right here, the Born This Way concealer. This can be used all over as a foundation or just under your eyes. This coverage will cover your sins. It does feel very lightweight when it's under your eyes. It's very smoothing. It's a little blurring. It is definitely not drying. This does not enhance any texture, any like unevenness, or just any of that stuff that we're trying to conceal. This does not emphasize any of that. I would say if you need a concealer that is very full coverage, that is like satin finish, this is your girl right here. Next, it's the Huda Beauty concealer. This one was released in 2022. I have the shade Coconut Flakes 2.7. For the Too Faced, I have it in vanilla. But this one right here is just as amazing as the one from Too Faced. But the reason I like this specific one is because it's matte. The dupe for this one, except for it's matte. I can get away with using this one even though I have dry under eyes because I use a tiny amount, and it will work. So if you have very, very oily under eyes, use the Huda Beauty. If your under eye is a little bit on the drier side, use the Born This Way concealer. These are very comparable. They're very high coverage. I mean, very high coverage. Lastly, for concealers is going to be this Rare Beauty one. I have it in the shade 200C, And the reason I decided to add this one to like holy grail status is because you want to have a very high coverage concealer, but you also want to have something that's a little bit more in the middle for those days where you really don't need to cover too much. This is amazing. As soon as you apply it under the eye, it smooths, it covers, it's like undetectable. This one is for those days when I'm using the minimalist stick and I just want something easy, medium coverage, and just ready to walk out the door. For blushes, I could have easily picked 10, but I had to be good. These to me are the best of the best. They are all cream. Even though I'm oily, I still like cream blushes just because they're a little bit more natural on the skin, and I don't know, the way that they warm and bring a little bit of highlight to your face is so different than when you use a powder blush. The first one that I'm going to talk about is going to be Merit. This little blush is amazing. I have it in the shade Beverly Hills. This again is for those days where you just want a little bit of color, just like a wash of color on your face. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It will give you color, but in a very sheer way where people are kind of like,
is she wearing blush or is she blushing?
I can build this up to as punchy as I want, but it's a little bit more on the sheer buildable side. This is the second blush that I picked. This is from Tower 28. It's in the shade Beach Please. This is more of a neutral rosy pink, and the texture, it's very creamy. It's very, very buildable. I mean, I literally just stamp my brush in and then stamp it on my face and I am good to go. You can use a brush, you can use a sponge, you can use your finger. Anything you use, this will look good with. You can also use it on your lips, on your eyelids for like a more monochromatic look. Next, for bronzer, first one that I want to mention is this one from Merit. I have it in the shade Clay. These are very creamy, very, very buildable. It's thin in consistency, but it's not thin in color, which means that when you apply it, again, you forget that you're wearing makeup, but you can see it on your face and it looks natural. I have oily skin and I love cream products. So if you also have oily skin, don't be afraid to try cream products because they just, in my opinion, look more natural than like powders, because powders sometimes can be too mattifying, whereas this just looks like a healthy glow. Next, I decided to pick the Charlotte Tilbury Sun Kissed Glow Bronzer in the shade 1 or Fair. Look at this color. This to me is the perfect, I mean, let me say that louder, the perfect shade for bronzer and contour. It's like a brontour? That's a word, right? This is perfect to chisel out your cheek, maybe to add a little bit above your lip, along the chin. This is perfect for that. I don't really think you can get away with using bronzer to contour sometimes just because they can be a little bit too warm and then it's like,
Why is her nose orange?
Lastly, I decided to pick the Huda Beauty Tantour Contour and Bronzer Cream. This is in the shade Light. This one will be punchy. I mean, this will give you color. This will make you look like you've been to the beach even though you've been inside for 360 days. This is very creamy. It's definitely a lot thicker than the other ones and more pigmented. I would recommend this for those days where you really, really want to look snatched and chiseled. This will give you that. Again, the undertone is not very warm. It's more of a cool toned bronzer, which is perfect for contouring and bronzing the skin. So if you're looking for something similar to what I just mentioned, try one of these three. And again, if they don't work for you, come and tell me why they didn't. But if they do, tell me why they did. For powders, I only picked 2. I'm sure you've all heard about the Charlotte Tilbury one. I have the little itty bitty one because I wanted to try it before I committed to the full size because I have commitment issues. This was just the safer bet. So I got the little tiny baby one and I got it in the shade 1 or Fair. This, I mean, I understand. Charlotte Tilbury, I understand the hype with this powder. It came through. I like to apply this one under the eyes, in the T-zone, and that's about it. I don't really powder anywhere outside besides the T-zone area. Found a new trick that I don't know if I invented it or if I learned it from somewhere. I no longer use a brush to powder under my eyes. What I do now is I just take the powder and with my ring finger, I work it around and lightly tap, tap, tap under my eyes after I've applied concealer, and it is the smoothest application that I have found up to today, literally. I've tried so many different brushes because I thought the brushes were the issue. After I would apply concealer, my eyes would be very crepey, very powdery looking, and I thought it was the brush, I thought it was the powder, and I think it was just the way that I was applying it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way my finger warms up the powder and the concealer together, but after doing it just like this, I'm never going back to brushes again for like under my eyes. This is very blurring, very mattifying, so if you kind of want a little bit of a dewy, glowy look, don't use this powder because this will literally mattify everything. Like every oil that is trying to escape will be set back down with this powder. I decided to pick a loose setting powder. This one is from e.l.f. It's the Halo Glow setting powder. I think it's in the shade Light. This to me is for anyone who wants to control their oils, but they still want a little bit of highlight, a little bit of glow peeking through. This one I use for those days where I'm wearing like a matte foundation and I don't want to further mattify it. I will use this, or on those days where I'm wearing just sunscreen and I'm looking a little bit too dewy, I will use this just because it's not going to be as mattifying as the Charlotte Tilbury. So if you want something that's going to control your oil, go ahead and try this. This will make it to your holy grail status. Next, I'm going to show you two of my favorite eyebrow products. This one is from e.l.f. It's in the shade Cool Brown. I really don't know what else to say other than it's creamy, it's very pigmented, it works, I mean, it gets the job done. It is $5. Now, a lot of you know that I was not a believer of eyebrow mascaras, tinted eyebrow, whatever you want to call it, until Merit. This gives me that definition that my little eyebrow hairs need without making them look crunchy, without adding like texture or just like white in my eyebrows. This right here, I honestly don't think I will ever go back to using anything else. For setting spray, I have two favorites, but I decided to go with the Milk one. This, I do not know what is in here, because this I applied the other day, I sprayed it, and it went from 8 a.m. all the way to like 9 p.m. My makeup still looked good. If you have an event, like, I don't know, a quinceañera, you're going to get tacos, you're going to prom, you're going to a wedding, this better be the last step in your makeup routine. I am just gonna show you the 3 lipsticks that were my favorite for the year. This one is First Time. It's from Smashbox. It looks like this. This is still sold. This color is the perfect everyday lipstick. If you are somewhere along my skin tone, I'm like light, sometimes light medium in the summer with warm undertones, this will look beautiful on you. It's not really a nude, but it's not really like a bright or dark lipstick. It's a little bit more on the like satin finish. It's not matte, but it's not glossy. It's right in the middle. It's very hydrating. It's gonna give you coverage, because sometimes, you know, when you apply lipstick and you're like, where's the color? No, this comes and says,
girl, I'm here, where are we going?
The second, because you gotta have a red lip. I have the one from Merit. This one is in the shade Cabo. It's in a beautiful, beautiful burnt orangey red. This one is a very lightweight on the lips. You literally will forget you are wearing it. It's buildable, which means you can like stamp it on, or you can go straight in with a swipe and it's gonna give you pigment. If you want it to be a little bit more sheer, like you've been sucking on lollipop, then you'll just kind of dab it out. But again, that is a beautiful color. It's a little bit more on the matte side because it's not very satin or glossy. So if you want something that's a little bit more matte, I would say try the lipsticks from Merit. This next one is Merit's Tinted Lip Oil. I have it in the shade Marrakesh. This color, I don't know why, I literally like the exact same colors in like most of my lipsticks. It also fades very, very beautifully. You can apply it and then after a couple hours it will have faded off very nicely. It won't bleed outside of your lips. It's gonna nourish, it's gonna give you color. For lip liners, there's really only one, and I've already told you guys about this one from Milani in the color Spice. The color is perfect. It's like a brownie mauvey pinky. It's not too brown, it's not too pink, it's not too mauvey. It's like a mixture of all three. It's the most wonderful flattering shade that you can use that goes with every lipstick. Maybe not reds, but a brown, a pink, a mauve, a beige, whatever lipstick, this will work. Okay friends, and we are done with this video. I have now shown you the best products of 2022, not necessarily by release date, but by use date. These are amazing in every way, shape, or form. They work for people who have oily skin and also for people who have dry skin, just because I've asked and they've confirmed. If you are in the market for the next best foundation, the next best concealer, blush, etc., go ahead and try some of the ones that I have recommended for you today, because I really don't think you will be let down. They're not going to be like your ex-boyfriend who let you down. Trust me about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one, but don't forget to subscribe and to follow me over on Instagram. But have a wonderful, marvelous day. I will see you in the next one. Bye!